Hi, and welcome to winemastery.co.uk. My name's John Lightfoot. This is
John Murphy.
And we're here to tell you all about wine, hopefully help you find the wine that you will absolutely love. And I think actually tonight's episode is going to be one of those episodes. It is sort of like wine for a very special occasion, I think.
Tis indeed, yep.
So we're talking about champagne. Just two parts to this, because the two champagnes that we're drinking are
eye-wateringly. John's only just recovered. But we're doing this for you guys. Is what? We've gone for a couple of delightful champagnes. In this episode, just the two, as I said, John was almost in tears about it. But I think we've done champagne episodes before, and this is kind of moving on to. We've gone for some big boys in the champagne world as such, and it's one of those. Is it worth it? What do you think, kind of thing? So.
Yeah, and I think the champagne. I mean, I think that we've evidently there are 50,000 labels of champagne. Most of those actually aren't exported. You have to go to France to get them. They're little, very, very small little vineyards. And I understand most of the champagne is actually exported. 90% is exported from the 250 champagne houses, which are the big guys, who some of the small guys supply with the grapes. So those are the guys, the really big guys you get to hear about. But I understand there's some really good deals. If you can sort of drive to the Champagne area, go to find the little ones, and you can pick up some really excellent quality champagne for very, very good prices.
Yeah, I think it's the same as lots of the wines over there as well. When you get over there, the prices are very cheap. And again, the pricing.
No, the prices are normal.
All right.
Over here, they're expensive, which makes them cheap there, but they're normal over there.
Fair dues. But that is one of the big things in the champagne world. And I hear this a lot of times when people say, I don't like champagne. And hopefully that's what this episode is going to go through, because that whole I don't like champagne. The first champagne most people try, understandably, is going to be the kind of the more budget or the reasonably priced champagne, which can be a bit keen. So hopefully trying these two will just kind of just notice the difference and see whether that price.
The word you used there was keen. By that you mean a little bit sharp, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, they are very, very
acidic and
massively so. Yeah, they have the real harsh metallic edge. And I've said this about heartburn before, and with Sauvignons for me personally, some champagne can be even worse. Champagne is just like painful. It can be painful because some of them are so, I say, acidic and metallic, and they almost burn all the way down there. And I can understand why a lot of people would try those and then think, champagne is not for me. Yeah. And where do you go? And then especially when you see, some of these massively expensive champagnes, and people just think, well, it's not worth it, and is it? And that's what we're going to go through this evening.
Yeah. Okay, so the first one we have, you'll see appearing on John's right, your left as you're looking at the screen, is a Pol Roger. And it's a vintage Pol Roger.
Sort vintage with expensive, and see why he's worried. But no, I believe we've tasted or filmed the Pol Roger, their white foil, which is their entry level, we'll call it, which would retail around about £40 to £50. Now the vintage.
Fortunately, this was bought a while ago, and I've forgotten. I think because you have those traumas where you just want to forget.
His mind blacked it out. I can understand why, because the vintages will be retailing anywhere, I'd say, between about £75 and £95 a bottle. Oh, bless him. No, I'll make sure it's okay after the video. I'm sure it'll be fine. So yeah, I mean, I must have mentioned before when we did the what they call the white foil. Pol Roger is my favourite champagne of all time. There's one to suit every occasion in that way. And I believe it was Winston Churchill's favourite. It's the Queen's favourite. It's used at all the events.
Elton John.
Not that Queen, the other Queen.
Oh,
Liz, our Liz. No, it's Liz's favourite, and they use it at all the things at Buckingham Palace and at 10 Downing Street, I believe. But it is a very small kind of champagne house. I think Winston Churchill actually named one of his racehorses after Pol Roger, and if I'm right, the Pol Roger, the champagne house, actually designed a 1 pint bottle especially for
1 pint.
1 pint for Winston
He
Churchill.
didn't drink it out of a pint glass. Sure.
More than like, well, it was. Because Winston, a character, of course, he was. I think at one point the bank manager pulled him in, didn't they, and said, you know, you're spending far more than you've got. And he says, okay, we'll just cut it down to 1 case of champagne a week then. But he's a bit of a hero, is Winston for me. But yeah, the Pol Roger. Now, even their white foil, I think is delicious. I love their white foil. I was telling John earlier how every Christmas is a tradition for me. The Christmas day, after working so hard through the Christmas period, and then having to deal with family. Sorry, Mum.
Is she gonna watch this?
I assume she'll be watching. I just want that first hour or so on my own. So usually I'm just getting a nice big bubble bath with a bottle of the white foil.
Not bubble as in champagne.
Not those bubbles. No, John. I'm not that rich yet. And I'd have a nice cigar and just watch the snowman on my iPad, and that's all I wanted from a Christmas morning. But then wondered why I was asleep at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So yeah, even their white foil, I think, still rates massively high. So, should we have a go at the vintage?
Let's have a load of vintage. And the first thing I noticed about it is it's quite yellow. It's very strawy in colour. It's not sort of quite as light as normal.
No, you are completely correct there. It is very yellow. That is almost the yellow which you would look at if you were to look at a white wine.
Yeah.
It was that yellow. You'd almost think it was off. You'd almost think it was oxidised.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. But that is no. I think that's quite natural. Again, vintages. I think I'm correct in saying this on most accounts that depending on the champagne houses, most people won't release a vintage unless it is a good vintage.
Okay.
Same as a lot of kind of port houses, they do the same. Lots will just release every single vintage, but like Pol Roger, no, only if it's good. Has it been a good year, will they release a vintage? And I believe this is 2004.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, 2004.
Yeah.
So it's had a long time in the bottle. It's been there for...
It's been waiting a long while to pop its cork.
It has.
I hope I don't have to wait as long.
Especially for you to... Especially for you to come along, John, and buy this. So let's have a go.
Okay. Now that's the first one where obviously there's like that doughy smell that you hear that you're supposed to smell from champagne.
Yes, well that is the thing. Well, I'm going to to and fro quite a lot in this episode about the kind of the better priced champagne. We've got all your budget champagne, and then something like this. Number one is like when you do smell one of the budget champagnes or one of the cheaper ones, you know, if you're picking a bottle of champagne up for 10-15 quid, I'm not saying this across the board as such, but you're not really, there might be exceptions to the rule, but you're not getting a brilliant champagne.
No, but the one we tested in the previous episode, which was about 10-11 quid, actually tasted better than Moet at 25, so...
There's the Moet again. There are certain rules to be called champagne, and there's like Moet and Chandon, and I'm saying this on video, but Veuve Clicquot as well. They're not my favourites, because they have that sharp, acidic,
which
metallic.
Some people will like, of course.
Yeah, I suppose, but for me, I don't see it as a true champagne. You know, it doesn't have that. I mean, let's have a taste.
Okay.
Because I'm assuming, even from the smell on there, as you say,
it's really powerful as well. Because normally with champagne, you really, you know, it's only a slight odour, but this is really full on. And actually, you're talking about the colour. It's almost like you said about it going off, but it's also like sweet white wine.
Yeah.
You can get that sort of
it does have that
sort of colour.
Yeah, definitely more kind of yellowy, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the nose on that is delightful. I mean, the first thing you notice there...
Well, the thing you don't notice is there's no acidity.
No. It's got the acidity to be well balanced, but it doesn't have that harshness. I've had them before, again, as I said, where they burn all the way down, and I can understand why people would then say, champagne's not for me, put the glass down and go for something else. Whereas that... It doesn't have the sharpness. It's rich. That doughy kind of biscuity flavour comes through, and for me, it has a flavour of kind of apples, but not the kind of crisp green apples which I can associate with a lot of wines. More a kind of nice red, you know, like rich apples. You know, that kind of that flavour. It has that for me.
I'm getting a whiff actually on the nose of, and that doesn't quite make sense to me because I'm getting a whiff of marzipan, but marzipan is sweet, whereas this is not sweet. So
No, it's just quite very, very dry, is this? But I can't find your marzipan. But then again, that's very subjective.
Yeah.
But even like the length there, you know, we're sitting here talking, and you can. It stays there, but not in a horrible way. Where again, you know, some of the better priced champagnes do leave that stringent, horrible, acidic flavour there. Whereas this is a pleasure.
It is.
It's just delicious, and that, you know, you can understand how, you know, a special occasion, or you know, if you can afford it every day, how people would drink and enjoy that for what it actually is. That for me is a stunning bit of champagne.
It's lovely. It is really, really delicious. Yeah. Or lush as current terminology.
Well, it is. It's just like, but this is, I would say, a million miles away from those champagne. Again, Moët Chandon or the budget champagne. It's a million miles away. You know, when I've tasted the other one, I wouldn't recognize. You know, it's champagne, but I wouldn't recognise it as a champagne.
No, I think that the thing is with champagne that it is a special occasion. I mean, if you buy a bottle of champagne to celebrate something special, you know, a wedding, a birth, or whatever, something that's really special. You know, you've got a promotion, you've you know, you've won something. It is very special. So it's not sort of like, unless you're really wealthy, it's not the everyday purchase. It's not the sort of table wine that you're going to just taste every night. But as something that's special, it does have that edge. And you know, it is worth now and again just saying, you know, caution to the wind. I can't believe I'm saying this. Caution to the wind. We'll just enjoy a bottle of this.
Well, as you're saying there as well, there's that whole. A lot of people do buy a champagne and they will have it and they will save it for a special occasion. Now, this special occasion, and I've seen this multiple times, this special occasions sometimes don't come up. If you know what I mean. I mean, Joanne, a lady who I work with, she had a bottle of Cristal champagne.
What a lovely lady
she is. Lovely. Hi, Joanne, if you're watching. She had a bottle of Cristal, so you were talking £220 a bottle, which she'd bought for a special occasion kind of thing, and she'd put it in the worst place on top of a fridge in the kitchen, which of course warms up, cools down, so that was destroying it anyway. But it was like one of these, you know, it's 200 and odd quid a bottle. And you think, when is that special occasion? When are you going to do it? And she ended up, you know, waiting years and years and years, and it completely broke it. You know, when she opened it, it was ruined.
Really?
Completely gone. I've got a friend, Rochelle. Hi, Rochelle, if you're watching. And I think I bought her a Cartier for her 21st birthday, so it was a long time ago.
Don't say that on camera.
A very long time ago. And again, she's kept it for a special occasion, but she's still got it. But that'll be ruined now. Be ruined. So sometimes when you think about this special occasion, what is the special occasion? It can be a Tuesday night.
It can be.
You know, and if you've got a bottle of champagne, because again, when people get married, all these, so many people get presents of champagne, special birthdays, and they keep it for that special occasion. Just get stuck in.
Yeah. There is no time like you know, you can just make the special, you can just make it happen. So I think, you know, it's a way of being grateful, it's a way of appreciating you know, what you have. And if you have that bottle, then as John says, don't wait too long, because, you know,
it's going to go off, and
or you are.
There's always that as well. Yeah. Just get stuck into it. It's the same as any other alcohol. It's there to be enjoyed.
Absolutely. In moderation.
Of course, John.
Of course. So, this was expensive enough, but I understand that our next part of this episode, you purchased an even more expensive champagne that we're going to try.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how those two
compare.
Yeah.
So the one we're going to try next is
very expensive.
Am I going to feel guilty swallowing?
No. I actually managed to get this. It was a charity event where there was a silent auction for this champagne. So I managed to get it at a fraction of the price at what it should have been. Because I'm a poor cheesemonger. I wouldn't be spending this amount of money on this champagne. But we shall tell you all about it in part 2.
Well, we'll see you there.
Chin chin.
Bubble bubble.